More on Adobe 9 Photoshop CC. Topics covered: Painting tools, retouching tools, drawing and type tool, navigating tools, using image menu, working with layers. Introduction. Adobe Photoshop CC is a powerful and widely used image editing software developed by Adobe Systems. It is part of the Adobe Creative Cloud suite of applications and is considered the industry standard for digital image manipulation and enhancement. Painting tools. Using painting tools in Adobe Photoshop CC allows you to create digital artwork and manipulate images. Here are the steps to use painting tools. Brush tool. The brush tool in Adobe Photoshop CC is a fundamental tool used for digital painting and creating various artistic effects. It allows you to apply color and texture to an image using a wide range of brush types and settings. Here's how to use the brush tool. Open Adobe Photoshop CC and choose the brush tool from the toolbar on the left side of the screen. You can also press the B key on your keyboard to quickly select it. In the options bar at the top of the Photoshop window, you'll find various settings for the brush tool. These include brush preset. Choose from a variety of brush styles, shapes, and sizes. Brush mode. This determines how the brush interacts with existing pixels on the layer. Opacity and flow controls the transparency and buildup of the brush strokes. Blending mode affects how the brush interacts with the colors beneath it. Brush hardness adjusts the softness or hardness of the brush edge. Figure 9.1. Using selection tool. Choose the color you want to paint with by setting the foreground color in the toolbar. You can do this by clicking on the foreground color swatch and selecting a color from the color picker. Click and drag on the canvas to apply the brush strokes. You'll see the chosen color being applied with the selected brush settings. You can change the brush size on the fly using the and comma keys on your keyboard, or by right-clicking and dragging left or right. You can switch between different brush presets by clicking on the brush icon in the options bar and selecting a different brush style. Experiment with different brush settings, opacities, and blending modes to achieve the desired effect. You can also combine brushes with other tools for more complex results. Don't forget to save your work regularly to ensure you don't lose any progress. Figure 9.2. Making brush strokes with green color. Cyber tidbits. The brush tool is incredibly versatile and is used for a wide range of digital art and image editing projects. With practice and experimentation, you can create intricate artwork, apply special effects, and retouch images with precision. Pencil tool. The pencil tool in Adobe Photoshop CC is a drawing tool that creates hard-edged, pixelated lines and shapes. It's particularly useful when you need to work with a limited color palette or create precise, pixel-level details. Open Adobe Photoshop CC and choose the pencil tool from the toolbar on the left side of the screen. You can also press the B key on your keyboard and select the pencil tool. In the options bar at the top of the Photoshop window, you'll find various settings for the pencil tool. These include brush mode. This determines how the pencil interacts with existing pixels on the layer. Opacity controls the transparency of the pencil strokes. Brush hardness adjusts the softness or hardness of the pencil edge. Choose the color you want to draw with by setting the foreground color in the toolbar. Click on the foreground color swatch and select a color from the color picker. Click and drag on the canvas to draw with the pencil. You'll notice that the pencil creates sharp, pixelated lines. You can change the pencil size on the fly using the and comma keys on your keyboard, or by right-clicking and dragging left or right. Similar to the brush tool, You can choose from different brush presets for the pencil tool. Click on the brush icon in the options bar and select a different preset. Experiment with different pencil settings, colors, and blending modes if applicable to achieve the desired effect. Combine the pencil with other tools for more complex results. Figure 9.3. Using the pencil tool. Cyber tidbits. The pencil tool is particularly handy when you need to work with a limited color palette or create pixel-perfect details, such as in pixel art or specificity types of graphic design projects. With practice and experimentation, you can create precise and detailed artwork using the pencil tool in Photoshop. Color Replacement Tool. The color replacement tool in Adobe Photoshop CC allows you to selectively change the color of pixels in an image. It's particularly useful for tasks like adjusting skin tones or changing the color of objects. Here's how to use the color replacement tool. Launch Adobe Photoshop CC on your computer. Open the image you want to work on by going to File greater than Open and selecting the image file. Locate the color replacement tool in the toolbar. It looks like a brush with a small color swatch on it. If you don't see it, right-click on the brush tool and select Color Replacement Tool from the drop-down menu. In the options bar at the top of the Photoshop window, you'll find various settings for the color replacement tool. These include sampling. Choose between continuous sampling, once, or background swatch. Continuous sampling continuously samples the color beneath the cursor as you paint. Limits. Set the range of colors that will be replaced. Contiguous replaces colors similar to the sampled color that are adjacent to each other. Tolerance. Adjust the sensitivity of the tool. Higher values replace a broader range of colors. Figure 9.4. Use of color replacement tool. Anti-alias. Smooth the edges of the replaced color for a more natural transition. Mode. Choose between color or saturation. Color replaces the hue, saturation, and lightness values, while saturation only affects the color intensity. Choose the color you want to replace with by setting the foreground color in the toolbar. Click on the foreground color swatch and select a color from the color picker. Click and drag over the areas you want to replace with the selected color. You'll see the color being replaced in real time. Adjust the tool settings, tolerance, and sampling options as needed to achieve the desired color replacement. If you make a mistake, use Ctrl+Z, Windows, or Command+Z, Mac, to undo. You can redo with Ctrl+Shift+Z, Windows, or Command+Shift+Z, Mac. Always save your work to ensure you don't lose any progress. Use File greater than Save or Save As to save your file. Mixer Brush Tool. The Mixer Brush tool in Adobe Photoshop CC is a versatile tool that simulates traditional painting techniques digitally. It allows you to mix colors on the canvas, creating realistic blending effects similar to using a wet brush on a physical canvas. Launch Adobe Photoshop CC on your computer. If you want to work on an existing image, open it by going to File greater than Open and selecting the image file. Locate the Mixer Brush tool in the toolbar. It looks like a brush icon with a small arrow on it. If you don't see it, right-click on the brush tool and select Mixer Brush tool from the drop-down menu. In the options bar at the top of the Photoshop window, you'll find various settings for the Mixer Brush tool. These include Load. Determines the amount of paint picked up by the brush. Lower values pick up less paint, while higher values pick up more. Mix. Sets the degree of color mixing as you paint. Higher values result in more blending. Wet. Controls the amount of moisture in the brush. Higher values make the brush behave more like a wet brush. Flow adjusts the flow of paint from the brush. Lower values apply less paint, while higher values apply more. Figure 9.5. Use of Mixer Brush Tool. If you want to start with a specific color, choose the desired color as the foreground color. In the toolbar, click and drag on the canvas to start painting with the Mixer Brush Tool. You'll notice that the colors mix and blend, creating a natural, painterly effect. Adjust the tool settings, load, mix, wet, flow as needed to achieve the desired blending and mixing effects. Use techniques like changing brush sizes, adjusting pressure sensitivity, if using a tablet, and varying brush settings for different effects. If you make a mistake, use Ctrl+Z, Windows, or Command+Z, Mac, to undo. You can redo with Ctrl+Shift+Z, Windows, or Command+Shift+. Always save your work to ensure you don't lose any progress. Use File greater than Save or Save As to save your file. Retouching tools. Retouching tools in Adobe Photoshop CC are essential for refining and enhancing images. They allow you to remove imperfections, adjust tones, and make various enhancements to achieve the desired look. Launch Adobe Photoshop CC on your computer. If you want to work on an existing image, open it by going to File greater than Open and selecting the image file. Locate the patch tool in the toolbar. It looks like a patch with a dotted border around it. If you don't see it, right-click on the Healing Brush tool and select Patch tool from the drop-down menu. In the options bar at the top of the Photoshop window, you'll find various settings for the patch tool. These include source. Choose between patch or content aware. Patch allows you to select a specific source area, while content aware automatically fills the selection. Click and drag around the area you want to remove or replace. This creates a selection. Click inside the selection and drag it to a different part of the image that contains the content you want to use for the patch. Release the mouse button to apply the patch. The selected area will be replaced with the content from the destination area. You can further adjust the selection or move it to a different area if necessary. If you make a mistake, use Ctrl+Z, Windows, or Command+Z, Mac, to undo. You can redo with Ctrl+Shift+Z, Windows, or Command+Shift+Z, Mac. Always save your work to ensure you don't lose any progress. Use File greater than Save or Save As to save your file. Figure 9.7. Use of Patch Tool. Content-Aware Move Tool. The Content-Aware Move tool in Adobe Photoshop CC is a powerful feature that allows you to move objects within an image while intelligently filling in the background where the object used to be. This tool is particularly useful for making adjustments to the composition of your images. Launch Adobe Photoshop CC on your computer. If you want to work on an existing image, open it by going to File greater than Open and selecting the image file. Locate the Content-Aware Move tool in the toolbar. It looks like an arrow with a four-sided cursor icon. If you don't see it, right-click on the Spot Healing Brush tool and select Content-Aware Move tool from the drop-down menu. Figure 9.8. Use of Content-Aware Move tool. In the options bar at the top of the Photoshop window, you'll find various settings for the Content-Aware Move tool. These include Mode. Choose between Move or Extend. Move relocates the selected area, while Extend duplicates the selected area. Click and drag around the object or area you want to move. This creates a selection. Click inside the selection and drag it to the desired location within the image. Release the mouse button to apply the move. The selected area will be intelligently blended into the new location. You can further adjust the selection or move it to a different area if necessary. If you make a mistake, use Ctrl+Z, Windows, or Command+Z, Mac, to undo. You can redo with Ctrl+Shift+Z, Windows, or Command+Shift+Z, Mac. Always save your work to ensure you don't lose any progress. Use File greater than Save or Save As to save your file. Clone Stamp Tool. The Clone Stamp tool in Adobe Photoshop CC is a powerful tool used for duplicating or cloning a specific area of an image and painting it over another area. It's commonly used for removing imperfections, retouching, and duplicating elements within an image. Launch Adobe Photoshop CC on your computer. If you want to work on an existing image, open it by going to File greater than Open and selecting the image file. Locate the Clone Stamp tool in the toolbar. It looks like a rubber stamp. If you don't see it, right-click on the Healing Brush tool and select Clone Stamp tool from the drop-down menu. In the options bar at the top of the Photoshop window, you'll find various settings for the Clone Stamp tool. These include brush size, adjust the size of the brush for precise cloning. Hardness, set the hardness of the brush edge. Higher values result in a harder edge, while lower values create a softer edge. Opacity, control the transparency of the cloned pixels. Lower opacity values result in more transparent cloning. Flow, determine the rate at which the cloned pixels are applied. Hold down the Alt key, Windows, or Option key, Mac, and click on the area you want to clone from. This sets the source point. Release the Alt or Option key and click and drag on the area you want to clone over. You'll see the cloned pixels being applied as you paint. If you need to change the source area while painting, release the mouse button, hold down Alt or Option again, and click on a new source point. You can adjust the brush size, hardness, opacity, and flow settings as you work to achieve the desired effect. If you make a mistake, use Ctrl+Z, Windows, or Command+Z, Mac, to undo. You can redo with Ctrl+Shift+Z, Windows, or Command+Shift+Z, Mac. Always save your work to ensure you don't lose any progress. Use File greater than Save or Save As to save your file. Blur Tool. The Blur tool in Adobe Photoshop CC is a tool used to soften or blur specific areas of an image. It's particularly useful for creating a selective focus effect or for smoothing out imperfections. Launch Adobe Photoshop CC on your computer. If you want to work on an existing image, open it by going to File greater than Open and selecting the image file. Locate the Blur tool in the toolbar. It looks like a water droplet. If you don't see it, right-click on the Smudge tool and select Blur tool from the drop-down menu. In the options bar at the top of the Photoshop window, you'll find various settings for the Blur tool. These include strength, adjust the strength of the blur effect. Higher values result in more intense blurring. Mode, choose between normal and behind. Normal blurs the pixels in the current layer, while behind only blurs the pixels on layers beneath the active layer. Adjust the brush size using the brush size slider in the options bar, or use the and comma keys on your keyboard. Click and drag over the areas of the image you want to blur. You'll see the pixels in that area become progressively more blurred. You can adjust the brush size and strength settings as you work to achieve the desired level of blurring. If you make a mistake, use Ctrl+Z, Windows, or Command+Z, Mac, to undo. You can redo with Ctrl+Shift+Z, Windows, or Command+Shift+Z, Mac. Always save your work to ensure you don't lose any progress. Use file greater than save or save as to save your file. Figure 9.12. Use of blur tool. Drawing and type tools. Drawing and type tools are essential features in Adobe Photoshop. CC allow you to create and manipulate text and graphics within your images. Figure 9.13. Drawing and type tools. Type tool. The type tool in Adobe Photoshop CC allows you to add and manipulate text within your images. It's a versatile tool that enables you to create various styles of text, including headings, paragraphs, and more. Launch Adobe Photoshop CC on your computer. If you're starting from scratch, you can create a new document by going to File Greater Than New and setting your preferred dimensions. Locate the Type tool in the toolbar. It looks like a capital T. If you don't see it, right-click on the horizontal Type tool and select Vertical Type tool if you want to create vertical text. In the options bar at the top of the Photoshop window, you'll find various settings for the Type tool. These include font. Choose the font style from the drop-down menu. You can also adjust the font size, style, bold, italic, etc., and color. Alignment. Set the alignment of your text, left, center, right, etc. Character/paragraph panels. These panels allow for more detailed adjustments to font properties and text layout. Click on your document where you want to start typing. A blinking cursor will appear, indicating the text insertion point. Begin typing your desired text. You can input single words, sentences, or paragraphs. To edit the text, use the text tool to highlight the text you want to change. Then, you can adjust the font, size, color, and more using the options in the options. Use the Move tool, V, to click and drag the text to a new location. You can also resize the text by selecting it with the Type tool and adjusting the font size. Always save your work to ensure you don't lose any progress. Use File Greater Than Save or Save As to save your file. If you want to apply certain effects or transformations to the text, you may need to rasterize it. Right-click on the text layer in the Layers panel and select Rasterize Type. Warping text. Warping text in Adobe Photoshop CC allows you to apply various distortions and transformations to text, giving it a unique and stylized appearance. Here's how to warp text. Launch Adobe Photoshop CC on your computer. If you're starting from scratch, you can create a new document by going to File Greater Than New and setting your preferred dimensions. Locate the Type tool in the toolbar. It looks like a capital T. Click on your document and type the text you want to warp. Ensure that the text layer is selected in the Layers panel. In the Layers panel, click on the text layer to select it. Go to the top menu and select Type Greater Than Warp Text. This will open the Warp Text Options panel. In the Warp Text Options panel, you'll find various preset warp styles like arc, flag, bulge, etc. Select the one that best suits your design. Depending on the warp style you choose, you'll have different options to adjust. These may include options like bend, horizontal distortion, vertical distortion, and more. Experiment with these settings to achieve the desired effect. As you make adjustments, you can preview how the text will look. Once you're satisfied, click OK to apply the warp. Always save your work to ensure you don't lose any progress. Use File Greater Than Save or Save As to save your file. Figure 9.14. Creating warping text. Shape and Line tools. Shape and Line tools in Adobe Photoshop CC allow you to create various geometric shapes, lines, and custom paths. Here's an overview of these tools. Shape tools. Rectangle tool. The rectangle tool creates rectangular Shapes, which can be filled with color or used as outlines. Rounded rectangle tool. This tool creates rectangles with rounded corners. It's useful for creating buttons, frames, and other elements. Ellipse tool. The ellipse tool is used for creating perfect circles or ellipses. You can draw circles or stretch them into ovals. Polygon tool. The polygon tool creates multi-sided shapes, from triangles to complex polygons, with numerous sides. Line tool. The line tool draws straight lines. You can customize the weight, style, and color of the line. Custom shape tool. The custom shape tool provides a library of predefined shapes like arrows, stars, and more. You can also create your own custom shapes. Using shape tools, choose one of the shape tools from the toolbar. In the options bar at the top of the Photoshop window, you can set the fill color and stroke color for the shape. Click and drag on your document to draw the shape. Hold the Shift key to constrain proportions. For example, draw a perfect circle. After drawing a shape, you can use the Direct Selection tool, A, to adjust its anchor points and control handles. In the Properties panel or the Options bar, you can further customize the shape's properties, such as dimensions, angles, and more. Line tool. Select the Line tool. Choose the Line tool from the toolbar. Set line properties. In the Options bar, you can set the weight, thickness, and color of the line. Draw the line. Click and drag on your document to draw a straight line. Edit line. Optional. After drawing a line, you can use the Direct Selection tool, A, to adjust its endpoints and path. Figure 9.15. Using the Custom Shape tool. Navigation tools. Navigation tools in Adobe Photoshop CC allow you to move around and zoom in or out of your canvas, making it easier to work on different parts of your image. Here's an overview of the main navigation tools. Hand tool. H. The hand tool allows you to click and drag the canvas to move around and view different areas of your image. Zoom tool. Z. The zoom tool lets you zoom in or out of your canvas. Clicking once with the zoom tool zooms in, and holding Alt, Windows, or Option, Mac, and clicking zooms out. Navigator panel. The Navigator panel provides a small preview of your entire image. You can click and drag the red rectangle to quickly navigate to different parts of your image. Using navigation tools. Hand tool. Select the hand tool from the toolbar, or hold down the space bar to temporarily switch to the hand tool. Click and drag on the canvas to move around. Zoom tool. Select the zoom tool from the toolbar, or press Z on your keyboard. Click once on the canvas to zoom in, and hold Alt, Windows, or Option, Mac, while clicking to zoom out. Navigator panel. If the Navigator panel is not visible, go to Window greater than Navigator to open it. Use the slider to zoom in or out, or drag the red rectangle to navigate to different areas of your image. Tips for efficient navigation. Fit to screen. Double-click the zoom tool in the toolbar to instantly fit your image to the screen. Use keyboard shortcuts. Pressing H for the hand tool and Z for the zoom tool allows for quick access to these navigation tools. Hold spacebar for temporary hand tool. While using any other tool, holding down the spacebar temporarily switches to the hand tool, allowing you to move the canvas. Set zoom levels in Navigator panel. You can click on the percentage value in the Navigator panel and type in a specific zoom level. Scroll wheel zoom. If you have a mouse with a scroll wheel, you can use it to zoom in and out. Hold down the Alt, Windows, or Option, Mac, key while scrolling. Figure 9.16. Hand tool. Using image menu. The image menu in Adobe Photoshop CC contains a variety of commands and options for editing and manipulating images. Image adjustment options. Image adjustment options in Adobe Photoshop CC allow you to fine-tune various aspects of your image, including color balance, exposure, and tonal range. Here are some of the key image adjustment options. Levels. Levels adjustment allows you to adjust the tonal range of an image. You can adjust the shadows, midtones, and highlights to improve contrast. Curves. Curves adjustment gives you precise control over the tonal range and contrast in an image. It allows you to adjust individual color channels. Brightness/contrast. This adjustment allows you to increase or decrease the overall brightness and adjust the contrast of the image. Exposure. Exposure adjustment helps control the overall brightness and tonal range of the image. It can be used to correct overexposed or underexposed areas. Vibrance. Vibrance adjustment increases the intensity of muted colors without oversaturating already vibrant colors. Hue/saturation. This adjustment lets you change the overall hue of the image, adjust the saturation of colors, and target specific color ranges. Color balance. Color balance adjustment allows you to adjust the balance of colors in an image, fine-tuning the overall color cast. Black and white. This adjustment converts the image to grayscale, allowing you to adjust the brightness of individual colors in the image. Figure 9.17. Original image. Figure 9.19. Image after changing hue/saturation. Photo filter. The photo filter adjustment simulates the effect of using various color filters on a camera lens. Channel mixer. Channel mixer adjustment allows you to adjust the contribution of different color channels to create grayscale or color effects. Invert. Invert adjustment inverts the colors in the image, turning blacks to whites and vice versa. Threshold. Threshold adjustment converts the image to pure black and white, with no shades of gray. Posterize. Posterize adjustment reduces the number of colors in an image, creating a more graphic, stylized effect. Gradient map. Gradient map adjustment maps colors from a gradient onto the tones in an image. Selective color. Selective color adjustment allows you to adjust the number of specific colors. Working with layers. Working with layers in Adobe Photoshop CC is fundamental to non-destructive editing and organizing your design elements. Here's an overview of how to work with layers. Creating a new layer. Click on the new layer icon at the bottom of the Layers panel or go to Layer greater than New greater than Layer in the menu. Naming layers. Double-click on the layer name to give it a descriptive name. This helps you stay organized, especially in complex projects. Rearranging layers. Drag and drop layers in the Layers panel to change their stacking order. The top layer appears in front of the layers below. Duplicating layers. Right-click on a layer and select Duplicate Layer to create an identical copy. Merging layers. Select the layers you want to merge and right-click, then choose Merge Layers, or Merge Down to merge with the layer below. Grouping layers. Select multiple layers, right-click, and choose Group Layers to organize them into a folder-like structure. Layer opacity. Adjust the opacity slider in the Layers panel to make a layer more transparent. This is useful for blending layers together. Layer blending modes. Select a layer and experiment with different blending modes to control how it interacts with the layers below. Layer locking. Lock specific aspects of a layer, such as transparency or position, to prevent unintended changes. Layer styles. Add effects like shadows, bevels, and gradients by double-clicking on a layer or using the Layer greater than Layer Style menu. Layer masks. Add layer masks to selectively hide or reveal parts of a layer. This allows for non-destructive editing. Adjustment layers. Add adjustment layers to apply non-destructive color and tonal adjustments to the layers below. Clipping masks. Use a layer as a mask for the layer above by right-clicking and choosing Create Clipping Mask. Smart objects. Convert layers into smart objects to preserve their original quality when transforming or applying filters. Layer combs. Save different layer visibility and position settings as layer combs to easily switch between different design variations. Layer effect and styles. Layer effects and styles in Adobe Photoshop CC allow you to apply various visual enhancements to your layers, such as shadows, glows, bevels, and more. Here's how to work with layer effects and styles. Applying layer effects. Double-click on a layer in the Layers panel, or right-click on the layer and select Blending options. This opens the Layer Style dialog box. Drop shadow. This effect creates a shadow behind the layer, giving it a sense of depth. You can adjust parameters like distance, size, and opacity. Inner shadow. Similar to drop shadow, but it applies the shadow inside the edges of the layer. Outer glow. Adds a glow around the outer edge of the layer. You can customize the color, size, and opacity of the glow. Inner glow. Similar to outer glow, but applies the glow inside the edges of the layer. Bevel and emboss. This effect gives the layer a three-dimensional look by adding highlights and shadows along its edges. Figure 9.20. Layer Style dialog box. Satin. Adds a soft, satin-like texture to the layer. You can control aspects like color, distance, and size. Color overlay. This applies a solid color to the entire layer, which can be useful for creating overlays and tints. Gradient overlay. Adds a gradient to the layer, allowing you to blend multiple colors smoothly. Pattern overlay. Applies a pattern to the layer, which can be useful for creating textured effects. Stroke. Adds a border or outline around the edges of the layer. You can customize the color, size, and position of the stroke. Drop shadow. Inner glow, and outer glow. These options allow you to add multiple instances of the same effect, each with different settings. Saving and loading styles. After applying layer styles, you can save them as a preset for later use, or load styles created by others. Scale effect with layer. Check this option if you want the layer effect to scale proportionally when you resize the layer. Applying styles to text. You can also apply layer styles directly to text layers, which allows for creative text effects.